kind in other states. In the spring of 1935 came the great winds, the bearers of the black clouds of dust. Winds that in their velocities and carrying power made even the Atlantic coast cities feel, in a very small way, the discomfort of those in the Dust Bowl of western Kansas. However, none but these hardy people living in this area can know the hardships and sufferings the combined forces of depression, drought, and dust have caused. On the distant horizon appears the rolling curtain of dirt that will soon blot out all visibility. Clouds of powdery fine dust that penetrate the smallest crevices, make breathing difficult, eyes sore, and spoils food within homes as fast as it is exposed. Anything that broke the force of the wind soon became buried. Fences and ditches were leveled with blow dirt. Within homes, a loose-fitting window would soon have a dust pile reaching from the floor to its ledge. Travel became so hazardous in the restricted visibility that highways were closed, and those caught out on foot were forced to follow fence lines to a haven of safety. It was not uncommon to become hopelessly lost within the confines of one's own field. Business was carried on with the utmost difficulty. Masks that had been improvised locally and those made in work relief sewing rooms were great factors in helping to carry on the daily tasks of life with some degree of comfort and safety to help. The forethought that had provided public emergency projects was greatly justified, as without loss of time, work relief clients were on the job to aid and relieve conditions. Over 400,000 man-hours of labor were used to combat this menace to health and prosperity. Roads were kept open, public buildings and hospitals were cleaned and made as dust-proof as possible by caulking doors and windows. 695 homes in 9 western counties were dust-proof under a program developed by the National Red Cross through the use of county relief labor. 1.5 million acres of land were listed and nearly 2,000 acres terraced in an effort to hold the soil and prevent it being raked off by the winds. Regardless of the acts of nature, there are certain daily chores that must be undertaken, dust or no dust. The cattle and horses looked for their feeding at the usual hours, and finding fodder for them became an ever-increasing task. When nothing was left around the farm buildings, herds of cattle were often driven through the devastated fields to salvage what little food they could. This climaxes the 4th year of serious drought in this section of the Middle West, during which time very few crops had been raised. During the last year, so little moisture had fallen that at the present time there is practically no vegetation in this area. Pasture lands are devastated, wheat fields barren, alfalfa and grass dying. Fields are not conditioned for planting, and due to continuous dust storms, with no intervals to allow for planting of seed, there are no vegetable gardens. This lack of food plus drought and the constant dirt storms have resulted in the death of cattle and horses and even wild game. House cleaning became an endless task. No sooner would some semblance of cleanliness be obtained than another storm would come along and undo all the good housewife's efforts.